Hello and welcome to Rev Sports. I'm Gargi Raut, and joining me at 5 is Ashok Nambudiri, Shomik Chakravarthy, and Bharat Ramraj. Now, for today's show, for the longest run, Varun Chakravarthy was a mystery, a bowler who did not just take wickets. He made batters look like they were guessing in the dark, like we all walk in the dark at night. But right now, that mystery seems solved, and his numbers have dipped. His biggest weapon, the Googly, is not biting the way it used to. And suddenly, Varun Chakravarthy, who once was a bowler who controlled games, is now being forced to react instead of dictating. And it's not just him. Kolkata Knight Riders as a unit are looking slightly off balance. It is a middle order that isn't quite clicking, partnerships that aren't building, and games that are slipping faster than they should. All of this against a Sunrisers Hyderabad side that walked into Eden Gardens and absolutely owned the night. KKR have been once again under controversy, but we're taking a different angle. We're going to look at why things are going wrong for them. And of course, Bharat Ramraj is joining us from outside of the Chinnaswamy Stadium. He's going to give us the update when it comes to RCB and what they're doing at the practice session tonight. But Shomik, I read your copy in depth. You wrote about, and you have a lot of numbers and references there to prove just why Varun Chakravarthy's Googly is not working anymore. His stock ball, which is his Googly, is just not as deceptive as it used to, which is now forcing Varun Chakravarthy to be a more reactive bowler.
See, Gargi, the natural thing to understand Varun's problem was to resort to or was to contact a, re- a, a coach with repute who is very much data driven and data compiled by Zubin Barucha. He is a very, very renowned coach at Cricket 21. That tells a story. His stock ball, as you very rightly said, Googly, it has now the way it has been decoded. Earlier, he used to 76% as per the data compiled by Zubin Barucha and Cricket 21. 76% of his deliveries used to be googly. He used to have the stock delivery is a 90 to 95 kilometers per hour googly, and he used to have a slower googly also around 80 to 85 kilometers per hour. Now, what has happened? Because that has been decoded. If you look at the numbers, I mean, earlier those googlies used to yield. I mean, the economy rate for that particular delivery used to be the economy rate used to be a little over 5. It has shot up to over 12 runs per over. And if you look at Varun, pre-South Africa game at the T20 World Cup, when his economy rate was around 7.5, and for the next from South Africa onwards, it shot up to 11 point around 11.5. So what has happened? Once his stock ball has been decoded, he is bowling a lot more. He is trying to bowl a lot more leg breaks and straighter ones. And without this is according to Zubin is reactive. He is not going for a solution. This is reaction. Solution is different. Solution, his suggestion is that he needs to turn to Sunil Narine, and Sunil Narine could be his best coach at this moment in time because he has gone through every phase in his bowling career also. But the fact of the matter is that at this point in time, now that David Miller started it off, and then Jacob Bethel took it from there in the semi-final, and now that his googly has been decoded, it is something similar to what happened to great Venkat Raghavan towards the end of his career. Venkat Raghavan used to have a brilliant, lovely floater. Suddenly, towards the end of his career, he lost it. And he tried to replace it with a leg cutter from around the wicket. But that was not quite effective. So, this is, I think, this is the more, I mean, this is a very, very crisis period as far as Varun's career is concerned. This is the most challenging phase of his career. It is even more challenging than what he faced after his debut in 2021, when for 3 years he went into international oblivion. But this is a different thing, and with all the data analysts, everything, now that he has been decoded, he is in a rut. Obviously, he is in a rut. He needs to come out For to come out from that, he needs proper coaching. That is the thing. Solution is he needs proper coaching.
And in this stage of the career, it's so difficult to take finished products and then coach them into reinvention. That's one of the toughest things to do at when you're at the elite level. Ashok, I'm going to ask you a question now, which I think Varun must also be asking himself. Has he been figured out, or is this just a phase?
So let me begin by saying that at this stage of his career where he is, he was the world's premier T20 bowler till recently. Expectations would be sky high. The margins for error would be very low, and therefore he would definitely be vulnerable both in a state of mind as well as when it comes to actually bowling. My sense is that while Abhishek Nayak coach KKR says that he is in a good space mentally, I'm sure that this would be bearing down on him, especially given that that Googly is been decoded. As Shomik said, that economy rate has gone up to about 12. And even if you see the first two matches that KKR played in this edition of the IPL, in the first one, it was actually 12 where he gave away 48 runs, and Ryan Rickelton and Rohit Sharma waded into him, early on. In the second one, the fourth over is very bold, and I went through every delivery there. Abhishek Sharma actually, took him out for about 25 runs in that over, where I thought Abhishek Sharma had completely decoded him. Not just the balls on the leg stump moving towards off, but even the ones on the off stump. I thought, Abhishek Sharma got that ability to basically read that ball and hit it towards between point and extra leg stump. The last ball was a replica of the fifth ball, and he read it exactly right. Is that Varun, in addition to whatever Shamik said, perhaps is going to default balls that he's bowling, not bringing in a new set of armory or a new set of tools that he can implement. And completely agree with Shamik that there is a coach that is required both for the mental strength as well as for the armory that he needs to build up.
Bharat, what has led to this decoding? Because the batters are clearly now reading him earlier than before.
Yeah, there are different ways to look at it. There's a thinking that with Varun Chakravarthy's Googly, it comes out scrambled. If you look at his Googly, it comes out more like a scrambled seam. That is one of the ways you can kind of detect Varun Chakravarthy's Googly, because it's not your quintessential back of the hand Googly. That is what all other bowlers bowl, but that is not Varun Chakravarthy. It's not back of the hand Googly. So what you can look at is the seam of the ball. They say that it's a little more scrambled. That is one way to counter him. Second way to counter him, if you look at a lot of English batters, including Jacob Bethel, they were looking to play with cross-batted strokes. So they are thinking that even if we miss time with the kind of bats that we have, the willows that we have, it might likely go for a six. You will see a lot of cross-batted strokes. You will see a lot of strokes behind square, on the offside, behind square on the onside. Jacob Bethel played that reverse scoop, played that scoop. So these things they're trying against is Googly, especially with the kind of modern day bats they have. I think that is what has led to this. Yes, it's also resulted in Varun Chakravarthy getting rattled. See, he's had his best when he gets that little bit of bounce, and he gets that bounce because of the kind of overspin that he imparts. So what happens is, even if his googly is not working, because it hits higher up on the bat, it becomes a little tougher for the batsman to land the shots because it's hitting somewhere higher up on the splice or higher up on the bat. Maybe I think he's rushing through a little more because he's getting smashed around, and that is why I think he's becoming more of a slow medium pacer at present. Because there you don't see the reps on the ball as well, enough reps on the ball. So I think these are some of the things that are going against Varun Chakravarthy. As far as decoding is googly, you could see it when Jacob Bethel was batting against him in that England versus India game. He waited one of the deliveries, he waited for it, and then nicely reverse scoped it behind square on the offside. You can do that only if you are picking that googly. So a lot of batters are picking his googly, I think, and It's basically, I think it's the seam of the ball that they're seeing. That is how I think they're able to decode his Googly.
And also, Bharat, give us the updates from Chinnaswamy. What's going on over there right now?
Yeah, I just now came. Actually, the session starts at 5 from 5 to 8 p.m. Yes, in the previous couple of sessions that I've attended here, what I can say is Jacob Bethel actually was looking in good nick. Actually, was looking in better form than Phil Salts, but I guess they will continue with him. So let us see whether I can notice Josh Hazelwood today, whether I can see Jacob Bethel batting or Phil Salt batting, or maybe even Venkatesh Iyer batting in the middle, because Venkatesh Iyer has been sitting out. Even the first match he sat out, and it was Devdutt Padikkal who played a great innings. So he also would be itching to get among the get into the thick of things. So he'll be hoping to impress in the practice session today.
All right. Back to you, Shomik. Varun Chakravarthy was at the center of conversation throughout the World Cup as well, just not as penetrative as before, giving away some 170 odd runs throughout the entire tournament. And there was this one, press conference where Mone Mokel spoke in depth about Varun Chakravarthy and his mindset. He did not give away too many insights on what he was working on, obviously, but he did say that recently he's been overthinking a lot, and that he just needs to trust in himself and deliver without thinking too much, because honestly, with the kind of skill set that Varun Chakravarthy has, he is capable of delivering a wicket every single ball. That's how good he is, but he's just been overthinking too much. We've seen a lot of sessions where Mone Mokel has worked one-on-one with him throughout the World Cup, but nothing seems to be working at this point. And when we talk about the tactical shift that he's made, that you've referred to in your article as well, he's moved away from his stock ball and is now bowling more leg breaks and quicker deliveries. That evolution, is that a bowler? Does that tell you that this is a bowler that is now searching for answers?
Yeah, he is. What he has been doing, he is just basically reactive. And you are referring to that morning mortal press conference at Wankhede. We all were there before the day before the World Cup semi-final. And after that, he was decimated by Jacob Bethel. Now, see, Gargi, the thing is that, and Ashok very rightly pointed out his spell yesterday. And Ashok, you must have noticed when he was clobbered initially at the first one or two deliveries by Abhishek. Then, after I think the fourth and fifth delivery of that over, he was so confused. He bowled seam up from around the wicket. He was just trying to. That ball was coming into him. He started off over the wicket, then went around the wicket, and those two deliveries he bowled sort of seam up. In fact, he was so confused, and he was so confused in the sense, so uncertain. His Googly has been decoded. He has been resorting to more and more leg breaks and straighter ones, and that when that was also clobbered, and that was not that effective. So what to do? He was resorting to seam up deliveries. So it's a clear case of confusion. I hope Varun will get through this. He's on the wrong side of 30. It is not. It is easier for a bowler who is 21 or 22. But Varun is an overthinking part. You have mentioned Ashwin too had this problem. Whenever the chips are down, things are not going his way. Ashwin used to overthink also. And Varun comes from the same school. Varun also, as a spinner, comes from Ashwin's school of spin bowling. Educated cricketer, thinking cricketer, and sometimes they are a bit prone to overthinking also. And Varun is obviously is overthinking. So the thing is that it's base thing. He needs to the the ideal way would be to go to Sunil Narine, go to the nets, one-on-one Sunil Narine, and do whatever. And if he needs a mini break, if he needs time off, not playing 2-3 games to get his act together, so be it. With an eye on the bigger picture, I think the KKR management will also agree, and KKR management will have absolutely no problems giving Varun a mini break. But he needs to sort this out. And once again, as Zubin said, and I totally agree with it, that you have the best coach in your dressing room. So go to him and try to address the problem. Just don't be reactive.
Now going over to the batting problems that we're seeing with KKR, we've seen them in two games now, Ashok. The problem in the middle order with the middle order is that they're not able to form partnerships. Do you think this is just, start of the tournament, the team not clicking, something like that? Or do you think this is an actual problem with KKR at the moment?
I looked at the first two matches and I looked at the data in depth, and I would identify three things. One, Ajinkya Rahane. I know Shamik is going to smile, but what is his role and what is expected of him is the key question mark. In the match against SRH, he scored 8 runs and he was really looking ill at ease. But we'll remember that in the match against Mumbai, he scored 67, but the strike rate fell off as soon as the power play overs got over. Finn Allen, he's batted at a 217 strike rate in the first match and a 400 strike rate in the second match. He actually got KKR off to 25 runs in the first over and gave them a dream start. Now, what is happening post that is that you are unable to capitalize on that and build on it. If you look at the innings that Cameron Green, and Cameron Green has been in the news for all the right and the wrong reasons, but I think the team is reliant on him to kind of build stability in the middle order. Ankrish Raghuvanshi has come in; he's actually played two good knocks to him, but like I think Shamik said, cricketing fitness is the concern there. It's a nice term to use. But then if you look down the order, you look at Rinku Singh, nowhere near the 170 strike rate that we have known him to kind of come in and deliver. Ramandeep Singh, big issue. And therefore, in the middle order, they're losing track. The third and the final aspect really is the role of Sunil Narine. Coming in at number 8 in the match that we saw against SRH makes no sense to me. Up on top of the order, he has the license to go out and give it a whack. And I think that is really what they will need to do. So I've always maintained that SRH had its own weaknesses, but they played to their strengths. KKR needs to identify what their thinking is. And I think that lack of clarity is what is leading to this middle order collapse.
But there seem to be a lot of people in our comment section who are, at this point suggesting that it should be Sunil Narayan and Finn Allen who should open the game for KKR. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it depends on the kind of matchup that is up against. If Sunil Narayan is up against SRH attack, then it's absolutely fine because SRH didn't have Pat Cummins yesterday, didn't have Bryden Cars yesterday. The kind of tall fast bowlers who have troubled Sunil Narayan in the past. If something has troubled Sunil Narayan in the past at the top of the order, it's up against tall fast bowlers who hit the deck hard, get some bounce. That's the kind of matchup I think Sunil Narayan isn't good at. But yesterday, I think he should have ideally opened the batting because he was up against an attack that didn't have fast bowlers who are tall and he hit the deck hard to get that kind of bounce. So I think they missed a trick yesterday. So it could be as per match by match basis. They can look at Sunil Narayan. But having said that, Ajinkya Rahane, I'm not very sure for how long can he keep going at the top of the order? Because see, he's a good player of fast bowling. He's still a good player of fast bowling. He strikes well against fast bowling, but against spin bowling, once the power play overs are completed, I don't think it's the same player. And when you are thinking of strike rates of 200, 190 on flat pitches, with openers striking at that kind of with that, when openers strike at 200 or 210, you have an opener who's striking more at 150 or 160, then it doesn't really make much sense. He's still a very good player of fast bowling, but I don't think he's that good against spin bowling. So Ajinkya Rahane is, I think, a kind of a problem for the Kolkata Knight Riders side. So I think I will leave because it's getting late.
Yeah. All right, Bharat, we'll let you go. Of course, Bharat will be giving us all the updates from ground zero from outside of the Chinnaswamy. As he has more updates, yet the practice session has not started or has only started right now. So we'll get more updates from Bharat. I'm looking at the comment section and okay. 2 weeks, San is saying 2 weeks of program is not a solution for bowling or batting. 4 overs bowlers get more injuries. Why do Indian bowlers lose their skills? Shomik?
No, it's. I will not single out the Indian bowlers only. It happens. It happens to every bowlers. If you go down the memory lane, you will see a lot of great bowlers. It happened to even. It happened to Kapil Dev even. I'm talking about Indian bowlers. In the mid 80s, he suddenly lost his outswing somehow, and then a diagram from Sunil Gavaskar. Mid-air, a diagram from Sunil Gavaskar helped him regain it. The problem, and Sunil Gavaskar and Kapil Dev were not in sort of a very hunky-dory terms during that phase. Reportedly, I will add this rider, and they were going somewhere. Sunil Gavaskar has just retired from international cricket. I think he was going on the same flight on commentary assignment, and there is something, and the message went to Sunil Gavaskar from Kapil Paji that this is the problem. He took out a pen and a piece of paper and had draw a picture and sent it to Kapil. And Kapil Paji said, "Message from Sunshine," and that where and in that piece of paper, the problem was addressed. This is how to solve it. And two great cricketing minds were at work. Two masters were, were the two protagonists there. So from that point of view, if you look at Jeff Thompson missing, suddenly losing his mojo after that shoulder injury, Imran Khan there's that problem. It is not limited to Indian bowlers only. But the fact of the matter is that these days, it is the challenge is steeper because every team has data analysts, a host of coaches, everything. So whatever your mystery you have, it gets decoded very easily. So the greatness lies in the fact the way you evolve. That is why a Jasprit Bumrah is special. Jasprit Bumrah, if you look at his evolution, when Bumrah came, he has always been a generational talent, but he had to evolve. And the way imparting backspin, that precision in Yorkers, the way he evolved, every great bowler evolves. So that in that case, Varun Chakravarthy is going to the toughest phase of his career, and this will define him whether he can reach the next level. Yes, I know he reached the top of the ICC T20I bowling tree, but this is about reaching another level. Whether he can do that, this season will define, or maybe we'll see in the near future. If he fails, then he will lose his place as both in KKR side and going ahead in the Indian team as well.
All right, let's take 5 minutes on the show, 5 more minutes on the show. Greg here is saying suddenly Rinku's ball striking ability is gone. Is gone on 226 chase. He played only 138 strike rate. Uh, Also, I wanted to add a note to what Chomik was saying in the last answer as well. I wanted to say that it's not just athletes in life as well in general. I think it's wild to expect an athlete to be 100% every single game or every single tournament. It's a very unrealistic ask for them. There are phases in every athlete's career where they will be the best, they will be the worst, and it's not going to be consistent. The results are never going to be consistent. What can be consistent is the effort that you're putting in, and at this point, Varun Chakravarthy is doing, I think, everything that he possibly can, going by the way that he's practicing and the amount of work that he's putting in. Yes, Shamik.
Uh, uh, Gargi, I give you Cristiano Ronaldo's example. Why he is an all-time great. He started off as an out-and-out winger, left or right, out-and-out winger. Then, with time, he changed his profile and became a central striker who used to operate from a little deeper. He will be there when the ball is in the box. He will be there, and then gradually, as he reached his 30 and went on the wrong side of 30, he completely became a in box, just a penalty box striker. So that is how he evolved, and this is greatness. This is greatness. And this is what separates great players and very good players.
Exactly.
So
Yes, Ashok.
I want to make a point here, which is that earlier, I think to Shomik's point, evolution was the hallmark of greatness. Today, given the sheer number of matches and the sheer number of exposures that these bowlers get, and that applies to batsmen as well. So all players, they are playing far more and they're getting to see each other far more, and therefore that evolution is necessary. And therefore, if you don't evolve with the game, you are going to get into this kind of a rut. And I think it's not a bad problem to have, because I think as he matures through it, as he gets out of this problem, and I'm very confident that he will, I think he will be in a far better place when he kind of grows out of this and evolves.
Very true. Very true. I totally agree.
Okay, going back to the question, the comment that I was taking, Greg, suddenly Rinku's ball striking ability is gone. 226 chase, he only played with a 138 strike rate. Ashok, your thoughts on this? Uh, what do you think about his entry? Is it a problem with that? Do you think he should be sent up the order or something like that? Which is something a lot of us do, agree on, that Rinku Singh should be sent at number 5 or something like that. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, in fact, Gagi, you'll remember during the T20 World Cup, we've had done many shows where we have spoken about this thing, and there
And
the
he
argument was that
in the last game. He was at number 5 in the last game.
he was at number 5, yes. But I think there the argument was that you had strength in the opening, you had strength in the middle, and therefore his ability to get that 25 or 30 runs from the last 8 balls was the special X factor that Rinku brought to the side. But when you look at the KKR side, I think there is a much stronger case to get him up the order and utilize that, because if you look at it, he scored in the 30s, right? 33 in the first match, and if I'm not wrong, 35 in the second match, at between 157, and I was just looking at the data, 140 in that last match is his strike rate. Now, I think at that point of time, we talked about that personal loss and perhaps the impact of that, etc. But I think he will perhaps be able to contribute far better to this particular side if he comes in higher the order, is my argument.
Where do you reckon Rinku Singh slots in then?
I would say that there are, okay, first of all, there are multiple questions to be asked, in the sense,
Exactly.
I had actually put first peg, which is Ajinkya Rahane, what is the role of expected of him, not as a captain, but as a captain. And unless you sort that out, the rest of the order doesn't fall into place specifically. Also, given that Ankush Raghuvanshi has been playing, Cameron Green has been a very high buy, it's difficult. Unless we answer all these questions, it will be very difficult to peg him. But I think they could experiment by bringing him at a number 4 is what I would think.
All right. Do you think, final question to both of you, do you think the opening pair is where the major change is needed when it comes to KKR? Shomik?
See, I mean, if when I look at this KKR batting lineup, I see problems top down. Ajinkya Rahane, I mean, I have massive respect for Ajinkya, and I will never say a bad word because I like him. I respect him as a cricketer. I like him as a person. But the fact of the matter is that, I mean, you want someone who is a more aggressive enforcer at the top. That is one thing. Now here is a conundrum. Okay, fine. I think the best solution for KKR will be to retire Ajinkya out after the power play. That would be one of the solutions. Now, if you drop Ajinkya and open with Ankush Raghuvanshi, who will be your captain? Because you have picked Rinku Singh, who basically has no experience of captaining a top side. I mean, no experience of captaining to speak of. So from that point of view, that is one issue. But I think the biggest issue for KKR, as far as their batting is concerned, is that they are lacking a middle order enforcer, and somehow they will have to include Robman Powell. Now you have missed out on. I mean, Andre Russell's playing days are over. You cannot replace the irreplaceable. I mean, especially overnight. So the closest to Andre Russell in terms of profile, the player you have is Robman Powell. Whatever you say that we are anointing Ramandeep Singh as Andre's successor. That is not the case. Robman Powell is the closest that you have to Andre Russell. So you have to somehow fit him in, whether in place of Cameron Green. Then this is also a catch-22 situation. We know Cam Green cannot bowl, but at the end of the day, he is a 25 crore buy. So this sort of forces the team management's hands to play him. So it's a catch-22 situation. So another thing could be you drop Blessings Buzravani, you play Karthik Tyagi, and bring on Robman Powell, but do whatever you like. You have to bring on Robman Powell in the middle order to add that middle order firepower. At this point in time, yesterday also once that partnership was going well between Ankush Raghuvanshi and Rinku Singh. And Rinku Singh, we all know, he is someone who prefers slow burn. He takes a bit of time up front before going gung ho. Now that run out was the turning point, and after that, KKR batting had no power left. Someone like Robman Powell there, Sunrisers Hyderabad could have been under serious pressure, especially in such batting friendly conditions. So I think KKR will have to somehow fit in um, uh, this guy, Robman Powell, in their playing 11.
I think the only other aspect there is that Sunil Narayan, like we said, opened with Finn Allen, and I think how they are then going to tackle Ajinkya Rahane is the question. But that is the other option
Exactly.
that they could.
It's a jigsaw puzzle. Actually, Gargi, the damage was done. You know, the source of this problem was the retention phase before the mega auction 2 seasons ago. They had a captain, a title-winning captain, sitting in their dugout. Right? Shreya Shire would have solved their captaincy problems for the next 5-6 years at least. Such an excellent player and such a strong captain and such a fantastic captain. KKR, KKR parted ways with him and retained Venkatesh Iyer for something around 21 or 22 crore. It beggars belief. I mean, it defied logic. So that the damage was done 2 seasons ago, and this KKR is suffering from the trickle down effect.
Yes. And now the question that we'll keep asking throughout the season is, can they undo the damage? And we'll just
By
have
the
to
way,
wait.
Gargi, just sorry, I'm interrupting.
Yeah.
Just my humble suggestions to Ajinkya that that don't let whatever it is get under your skin.
Yes.
Don't embrace a siege mentality. You are a fantastic player. You are a fantastic servant of Indian cricket. You have been a fantastic servant of Indian cricket. So no need for such kind of siege mentality.
Exactly. It's not easy being in the Indian cricketing circuit, especially the kind of critique and everything that comes along with it. Being in the spotlight all the time, having opinions thrown at you left and right. So it's not easy being an Indian cricketer. It's not easy being Ajinkya Rahane at the moment. But again, the question that we'll keep asking throughout the season is, will KKR be able to undo the damage that has happened so far? Greg is saying there's a super chat. Okay, Naman Dheer is far better player than Ramandeep. Ashok, your thoughts on this? Naman Dheer in the playing 11?
I mean, how is that going to solve the KKR problem? I mean, I am not sure how that is related to the KKR discussion that we are having. I mean,
exactly, yes.
I mean, that Mumbai Indians, right? So how would that come into play? I think the issue really is the management currently seems to be promoting Ramandeep as the person who can stabilize the middle order, take over from Russell's legacy. The question is, that versus what Shomik just said, which is Robman Powell. And I think they have to look at both the options and then figure out what works. But at this point of time, very difficult to say, frankly.
See, this question sort of prompted me to have come up with an answer. How great it would have been if KKR had Jasprit Bumrah. How great it would have been. He is not your player. What to do? You have to make do with what you have. So you have Robman Powell, and concentrate on him. Concentrate on him. Namandir, whether Namandir is a good player, a better player than Ramandeep, or KKR has got nothing to do with that.
Exactly. But okay, on that note, we'll take your leave. We'll be back at 6:30 with the pre-show today. So don't forget to join us then. We'll be back very soon. Stay tuned.